All right, we're live here, Daddy-O.
Okay.
All right, guys. So real quick here, this live stream is going to be a little bit more of just some updates, some thoughts. Not so much presenting or interviewing anyone today. So we're going to just kind of start with a few housekeeping items. We're going to talk about Ninja. We're going to talk about Star Title. We're going to do a company update. So just want to put out there right now that if you have questions about anything, just feel free to fire them in here right now and we'll answer them, but it could be anything at all. So don't feel like there's a dumb question. It could be anything. We're just going to take any questions you have today. So, all right, Greg, so opening up, let's jump into housekeeping.
All right, quick first one that I didn't tell you about earlier, but I'll throw it on you is
little curveball here.
COVID. What can we get together in large groups right now of a couple hundred people?
Okay, so this is kind of a there's not been a lot of direction on that yet. We do not believe that right now you're going to be getting a ton of I think there's still some restrictions on gathering sizes, like super large gathering sizes. I think we'll know more as of July 1st. We are doing the golf outing this year, so that will be our first large gathering. Speaking of large gatherings, I'm just going to toss this out there. We are planning on doing a large scale company meeting in the fall where we invite everybody in, we rent a big conference center and we do one of our company meetings in the fall. We are planning on doing sort of like a happy hour hors d'oeuvres get-togethers in all the markets this summer. So keep an eye out for those invitations. So we are going to definitely begin getting the band back together and we're going to do a little tour. And so we're excited to see everybody face to face. It's been too long and we are excited to do some of those more normal things again. So I don't have all the specifics for you right now, but we're not there. There's still some uncertainty, but I think by the time July 1st rolls around, we'll be back in business. So.
Alrighty. So in terms of a couple housekeeping thoughts here, everyone, our goal is to make sure that you guys are more informed than any other real estate agent out there. And so we've seen a couple of things taking place. Lara in the state of Michigan has made it abundantly clear to us and others that if you change addresses, you move, your principal residence changes, or your name changes, married, divorced, whatever. If you make a name change or an address change, you have 30 days to go to Lara and go make that change right online. It's pretty simple. If you have any issues, you can probably get a hold of our staff, Bree or Taylor or Justin.
Just call the front desk and we'll direct you as well.
But it's important. You are now subject to a fine and I believe even possibly other censures if you do not do that. The number one reason is that the state needs to know where you are. They know how to contact you and they want your proper name and they want your address.
And they will fine you, and we've seen it happen.
Right, we have seen.
Yep, it happened here at 5 Star. So, yep. And also on that same note, let us know if you guys have moved. If you've moved, if you have a new email address, if you have a new phone number. The number of times that we hear from an agent who's like, yeah, I'm not getting any communications from you guys. I haven't seen any of the emails going out. Most of the time is because you made a new website, you got a new email address or something like that. And if we don't know about it, we don't get these emails addresses from Lara. So you have to tell us if you have an email address. So please keep us informed as well.
Yep. And then Paul, they can also, if they want to know what is going on, Facebook Connect has almost everything on it, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, we on this page here, we post weekly events. We post upcoming. We usually give people a day notice if we're doing an event. If we're doing a live stream, there's usually a day notice. We send out if you're not getting our monthly emails, we send out market updates with how the market's doing. We send out recaps if you've missed any videos, any communications that have gone out. We'll send those out in a recap email. So if you aren't getting some of these communications, like just raise a hand and we can get in touch with you and we can figure out why you're not getting those.
And if they don't know where to go, Paul, to find the past videos that, I mean, educational and otherwise, where do they go?
Well, we have a thing called a link tree, which I'll have like a Mary post here in this thread. She's overhearing me right now. She gave me the thumbs up. So she'll post a link to our link tree, and that essentially is kind of like a space where you can see all of the important links with 5-star. You want logos, colors, you want some pre-templated postcards, you want letterhead, you want to get to the storefront where you can buy more buyer and seller guides. If you want to buy new signage, new open house signs, you want to get to our YouTube channel, which has hundreds of videos there. Every video we record here, including this one, will land on our YouTube page. And we have them categorized by Deal Doctor. We've got Greg and Paul. We've got Think Spring. We've got all the series are there, all broken down. So take a look at that link tree link you'll see here in a second. Check that out, but click around.
All right. Can I move on? I'm going to move on here.
Sure.
We're going to call this next area kind of like company updates and did you know?
Okay.
And so one of the things that we have not found beneficial is to go out and toot our horns as to how big we are. You know, what our experience has been is that agents don't really care how big we are. Agents really just want to know that we know who they are, that we care, that we're taking care of issues, that we're responding, and how big we are doesn't really matter. But every now and then somebody says to me, how come I didn't know that? And it's like, man, I'm thinking we're putting all this stuff out, but yet there's a lot of people that don't know that. I think today we have right now, we have 615 agents throughout the state of Michigan.
How many MLSs is that?
I'm not sure, Mary or Bree, I'm guessing it's like 15 or 16 MLSs out of a total of 40 in the state of Michigan.
Yep.
We have, we've gone from a staff of 8 a few years ago to a staff of 30. And all of this is to support and make sure that every agent feels as though that their immediate needs are being addressed and their questions are being answered. And so we have 30 staff people, professionals. We've had a couple of new people that I'm going to talk about here as well. But before I get there, we've got 20 5-star offices, of which 5 of them are staffed with a branch administrator. And then those branch administrators serve from a central location. They serve another 15, what we call satellites or drop-in space. Beyond that, I'm hoping everybody knows what a PBO is, but a PBO is a private branch office.
I don't know that I've ever heard it called a PBO.
Yeah, well, they're PBOs.
You had me confused. I was like, oh boy, quick Googling, what's a PBO?
Yeah.
Private branch office. We've always called them private branch offices.
Right. So 23 of those, which means these are either owned, the space is either owned or leased by a 5-star agent, and yet that space is private to them for either themselves or their team. They generally don't offer other agents from 5-star to use those spaces, but we want to make sure that everybody in 5-star knows the 20 offices that we have, every one of them has space for people to come in and work from all day long.
You know, one of the things that we've realized here over the past few years as well is that we have about 10% of the company that has an office right now, that has a private office. I mean, maybe a little bit more if you take the private branch offices you just mentioned. But so that's why most of the spaces we're looking at, or that we usually get, it's not big, massive spaces. They tend to be between 1,000 to 1,300 square feet.
Yeah. Yeah, probably an average of 1,300. You know, some are.
And we're getting a little better at them. We're figuring out how to make the spaces more functional for people. We've probably made some mistakes early on by getting some spaces that weren't really conducive to co-working, but we're getting a little bit better at it as we go.
Yep. And it is, you know, again, it's always a struggle because, you know, as we all know, even before COVID, you know, 5-star has been in this virtual world of offices since day one, January 1 of 96. We were so far ahead of the curve in this area, you know, and today they're talking about how few people are working from office space or want to work from office space. Well, 5-star's been there for years, and we accounted for it by lowering the cost of all agents who did not want to have a private office.
Right.
I also want to mention, I want to introduce a couple people that you may have heard from or you will be hearing from in the future, but we are expanding our recruiting and our regional support efforts. And so we've hired Craig Dunlap, who has been a realtor for about 35 years. And Craig was extremely successful, one of the top agents in the Grand Rapids market. And he retired, he's come back out of retirement, and he's doing a bang up job. You may hear from him. He does reach out to agents when he's looking to recruit somebody from other brokerage. He might call you up if you've had a transaction with them, because he just wants to find out some good things about that person before he calls that person up. So he's not trying to be a bother. He's just trying to find a way to get a warm entry with these agents that he's recruiting. And then just in the last week here, we've hired Paul Brooks. For some of you along the lakeshore, Paul was a part owner of Woodland before it was sold to Coldwell Banker. And then just recently, he had moved over to Remax along Lakeshore and had been working along Lakeshore. And Paul is now joined 5-Star as a regional support broker. His task again will be recruiting, helping the deal doctors, mentoring, coaching, and also doing.
So let's talk about this. Let's talk about this real quickly here. So we have this new role at 5-Star called broker support. We're used to using this phrase all the time, but a lot of people are like broker support. Like, okay, so you've got your team here, right? You got your Marys and Pauls and Dons and Gregs. So you got your deal doctors over here. We know what deal doctors do. We know what the marketing people do. What does broker support do that's different? Where's their sweet spot? Where do they fit in?
Well, and I'm gonna add another word to it, regional broker support. But on the other hand, we expect them to crisscross the state of Michigan to help agents in any market, because the rules are the same in most markets. There's a few idiosyncrasies in each one, but generally speaking, a broker from Jackson, Michigan can answer questions for a broker in Whitehall.
Right. But so I want to take it further. Okay. So a broker support person here at 5-Star, because we just made this thing up. It's not like other companies have, it's a different thing. We don't necessarily believe in quote unquote managers, because other companies' managers are kind of like a one-stop shop, jack of all trades. They're doing recruiting, they're managing offices, they're leading meetings, they're doing everything, right? And from what we've seen is that managers oftentimes run really thin in a lot of areas, and then maybe they're really good in one area. Which is where here at 5-Star, we've said is let's let Don be a full-time deal doctor. Let's let Eric be a full-time deal doctor. Let's not bog him down with other things. So broker support is kind of seen a little bit more, from my perspective, like business building, like talking like boots on the ground, because these people on our broker support team are veteran realtors who have done it, right?
Yep.
And these people, like, for example, I was talking to Paul Brooks, the newest broker support member. He's like, man, if you want me to sit at an open house with you, we can talk about business. We can talk about the best way to maximize your time. We can talk about how to land leads at an open house. We can talk about how to do a better listing presentation to try and land it at that moment. That's what these people are here for. These people are supposed to be here to help you build your business, to help you think about real estate from a realtor perspective, not just a deal doctor's perspective, which typically is how to avoid a problem or how to get out of a problem or how to resolve something, right?
If I were an agent at 5-Star right now, and I'm just learning about this for the first time, I would encourage you to call them up and talk with them and maybe set up a coffee. And I think that you're going to find that what we have done is we have brought in some top level people who have been successful and very successful actually. And they are here to help you, so that you should never, my goal has always been that you don't wake up tomorrow morning and wonder, what do I do? That just shouldn't happen. You should know what's going to happen tomorrow morning when you get up, whether 6, 7, 8, whatever. You should know.
If you're in a position where you wake up and you think, I don't know what to do today or tomorrow, that's exactly why you should reach out to broker support or reach out to me, and we will connect you with the right people. We'll set up a brainstorming meeting, and we will run through ideas, ways where you can lead generate, ways where you can prospect, ways where you can create those. And by the way, if you're looking for that to talk about follow-up and generating things, we're in our other page called the Classroom, which is kind of been, we kind of downplayed it for now. It's geared towards newer people, but if you're interested and you've been here for a while and you want to get into like more of an educational room, head over to the Classroom. Just search in your bar for 5-star Classroom and hit join, and there will be, we'll get the notification that you want to join and we'll let you in. We're going to be doing a live stream tomorrow where we talk about some of these things and how to set a plan for your day and how to never sit there and twiddle your thumbs.
Paul, why don't you mention at this point too your Con Ed videos?
I'm not sure I hope everyone's aware, but again, we've discovered over time that emails get cluttered. People miss emails. People don't pay attention sometimes. That's okay. Life just happens. We have a Con Ed. So this past year, typically what we've done, for those of you who've been here for a while, we do a big Con Ed in person. It's always been a goal of mine to be able to make it digital as well, so that if someone, misses it for some reason and needs to retake it, we can have digital Con Ed available. So this year we had no ability to do an in-person Con Ed. So we said, okay, great. This is a perfect chance for us to actually make this digital Con Ed happen. And so we did it. We videoed Don, we videoed Eric, and then Greg, Eric, and Don interviewed Gail Anderson for the 2 hours of legal. And so we have all 6 hours of Con Ed ready for you to go. We have it approved to the state of Michigan. We're reporting it weekly. We've had about 150 people take it digitally right now, out of 600. So I know there's a large portion that have not done it. We tried to keep it interesting. We tried to keep it concise. So if you've not taken it and you want to take it and relevant, we make all of it in-house. So if you want to take it, please check it out. It's available to you. It's in our dashboard. You go to 5starmichigan.com. You can do the agent login top right. And then once you log in, you'll see there's an educational tab. And then you can take Con Ed right there and you can take it and complete it at your own pace. If you need help with that, just raise a hand, reach out to anyone on our team, and we will get you in touch with the right person to get you set up there and get you in there, taking that class. So we have Con Ed, take it. It's pretty good.
All right. Next, what I want to talk about, still in this area of did you know and company update, is I'm not sure how many agents at 5-Star realize that 5-Star agents in the past 3 years have been paid out $450,000, almost $500,000 in recruiting bonuses. And
that is when you make a handoff and you bring someone over, like, for example, you set up a meeting you call me, go, Paul, there's a great agent over here. I want you to talk to her. She's ready to go. She told me she's interested. Boom. We set the meeting up. They decide they want to come over. And then what happens?
Well, there's 2 steps there.
Okay.
Number one is that we have 2 phases here, A and B. A is $100 per deal for 2 years, and B is $50 a deal for 2 years. The $50 one is for those situations where the agent didn't really initiate the lead. And I mean, obviously, all of you understand.
You called it the assist. You called it an assist where.
But whereas the $100 is set aside for those people that you reach out to, you contact them, you get the meeting set up, and you can invite any one of the 5 recruiters to be at that meeting, and you can sit back. But if you get that person to come to the meeting, the coffee, the whatever it might be, where we can present, you don't have to do the work. You just have to get the person into the meeting, and we'll take it from there. And in that situation, it's $100 a deal that person does for the next 2 years with a cap of 50. The reason we cap it at 50, of course, is because the 295s cease and desist for us as a company at 50.
Yep.
So the second thing I want to talk about is Star Title. And
this is new.
This is, yeah. And, this is, we haven't been real aggressive, in my opinion, in terms of pushing Star Title.
Well, we also made a few changes where we could create more opportunity.
Right. And we have done some things now that allow us to sell shares versus percentages, which allows us to increase the pie, so to speak. And so what I wanted to say is that if you are not a member of Star Title, you would like to become a member of Star Title, you need to reach out to Phil Carlson at Star Title, or you can probably find his numbers someplace inside of 5-Star too. But if you want to be a member and would like to participate, I can tell you right now that the 90 agents who are currently members of Star Title have had distributions sent to them of approximately $2 million over the last 5 years.
And
And we
there are some qualification requirements.
right. And again, yeah, I mean, you're looking for some loyalty and you're looking for some support and being an ambassador for the title company. And whenever you hear about a refi, you try to get friends and family to do their refis through Star. There's also some requirements in terms of the volume you've done. And what we're looking for, and Phil can give you more of the details, but I think you have to be somewhere in the $2.5 to $3 million range for a couple of years to be able to qualify. There probably are some exceptions to that, but that will allow you to have that conversation. And we would love for you to reach out. You can call Paul or myself too, and we could probably get directed. But we just want to make sure that.
So that was a formal invitation,
right,
for you to look into being a part owner of Star Title. And it's been a good thing. The one thing to know about title insurance is it's a government regulated industry. So all the fees across the board are pretty much the same. Most title companies are within a few dollars of each other. So, and we strive over at Star Title to deliver amazing service. We're not just a broker owned or sort of title company. We're trying to build a great title company with great customer service, with top notch everything over there. So that's what we strive for.
Well, and the other thing I want to mention is that this is the first fully broker owned title company in the state of Michigan. And we also, almost 6-7 years ago now, we had a relationship with TransNation. We broke away from them because we didn't want to be a JV. Mm-hmm. We wanted to be a full broker.
And JV for those listening stands for joint venture.
And so in reality, in a JV, there really isn't a big staff. I mean, there aren't people doing the examining, the searching. They're not doing the closing. They're not doing the agent support. They're not doing the post-closing. They're not doing the filing of final policy.
Basically, it's a shell.
Yep.
In a nutshell, it's a shell. And we were part of it. And so what happened is we had one staff member that was pushing 1,000 or more transactions through this company, which is physically impossible. It was really, truly, it was a TransNation operation. And then we just made a new name for it called Star Title. And a few years ago, there was an organization called the CFPB, which is the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And they were gunning to shut title companies down. This was like a big thing on their radar. And so we thought, well, holy cow, we've got all these members here. All these agents have worked so hard to send to business to this organization. Let's protect this thing. And so we broke off from TransNation at that time, and we launched a full-fledged company. And I'll tell you what, we fell flat on our face, didn't we? Twice. I mean, we fell flat on the face. I mean, we had some pretty major black eyes, and we had to apologize. And we had to regroup, and we rebuilt. And how many years ago was that? Was that now 6 years ago? Maybe 7 years ago?
15.
Yep. So we have worked really, really hard from there forward to build out an absolutely fantastic team of people over there at Star Title. And we're not done. We're excited for the future of that company. But that's what it is now. So it's a full standalone company now.
I talked with 2 of our agents this week, and I actually said, hey, I'm just calling to check in on Star Title. I want to know how your transactions are going. And I mean, if there's any little thing that's not right, I want to know about it. Mm-hmm. And both of these top agents said, you know what? It has been smooth sailing of late. And I realize that there are some hitches and glitches in this industry when, communication is the key to everything. And every now and then, if there's a little bit of a breakdown in communication, there can be problems. But every title company has them. And anybody that tells you that the other company's perfect is not telling the truth. Mm-hmm. But I can assure you that we are busting our chops to build the best title company in the industry. And we have a staff now of 35 people. We've got our own in-house attorney inside of Star Title to make sure we can do things that we couldn't do in the past. So anyways, we just want to encourage you that if you think you qualify and you would like to become a member, please do so. Also then, Paul, we are about, we got a few more minutes left, but I want to talk about dual agency. And we continue to see confusion with agents on what dual agency really is. And, you know, 5-Star a long time ago became a designated agency company. And the reason we became a designated agency company is I wanted buyer's agents and seller's agents to both be able to work on the same transaction inside the same company and both be able to fully represent their client. That's what designated agency is allowed. But because of that, there has to be disclosure. And the disclosure comes in many ways. You check the boxes on the buy sell, on the agency form, but it even goes further than that. And so we've heard agents say to us that if I'm going to sell my own listing, I have to be a dual agent. And we're like, no, that is not true. You do not have to become a dual agent to sell your own listing. And here's quickly how you do it. All you do is you say to the buyer, look, you can see my sign is in the front yard. I must have a relationship with these people. I don't know you from Adam, so I represent these people, but I can help you buy this home. And at any time, if you don't feel comfortable, you can make this offer contingent upon an attorney's approval. You can go get another real estate agent. You can do whatever you want to do, but I can walk through here with you. The key to this is that you don't tell me what you're willing to do. As an example, don't tell me that you love this house, you've got to have it, and I'll do anything to get it. Well, because if I'm working for the seller, I'm supposed to relay that information over to the seller. And because anything I know when I have a client, I'm supposed to help them by giving them all the information that I have. So what we recommend is that when you meet with a buyer, you just say, look, I can help. I don't represent you, but I can help. And let me show you how. And so I'm going to check the box here that says, I represent the seller. And I need you to sign saying that you see that I represent the seller. I think a lot of people in the past have felt like if they do that, they're going to lose the buyer and they're going to lose the opportunity.
Right, right.
And then we've also heard from some agents that they don't really believe that being on the buy side and the sell side is ethical. And you know what? I believe that's a personal decision. But I can tell you this: it is legal. You can represent both the buyer and the seller, and you can put this transaction together. And
as long as the buyer knows who you represent, like I use this analogy all the time. When I go to a car dealership to go look at a car, I know exactly who that car salesman represents. I don't need to go hire my own car buyer agent for me to understand that I'm not being represented in that situation. So I think is if you think of it that way, out of the many transactions that I've sold myself and I've double dipped them, I've just made it very clear. I said, look, I represent the seller, but I'm happy to walk you through how to write an offer. You can fill in those details, and I'll just walk this back to my client right now, and we'll get back to you, and I'll tell you what my client says. And you have them sign a disclosure saying they know that you represent the buyer or the seller, and you just got to keep it clear.
Yep. So we allow dual agency in 5-Star because the state allows it. There's many times when we have an issue when I wish that we didn't allow it, from the standpoint of it increases the liability for the agent and us whenever dual agency is involved. One
of the issues we face too now is that when let's say you own a rental property, Greg.
Yep.
Can you be a dual agent selling your own property?
No, it's impossible.
Does the state have a law against that?
Well,
because we see it happen. We see this happen where agents come through as a dual agent And
Well-
it's like, but you literally own one of the properties you're selling, and you're telling me that you also represent the buyer.
Well, let me take it a step further. Let's say it's your brother, your sister, your cousin, one of your best friends. Can you really stand before a judge and a jury and convince them that you didn't favor or have a reason to favor?
Right. If they subpoena if they've subpoena things and they ask for your emails, what story
Right.
is it going to tell? Is it going to tell that you represented is it going to show that you truly represented both parties?
Yeah.
Or is it going to show that you really represented this party?
So we don't think you can be a dual agent in any of those situations where you have a relationship with the seller. It just doesn't make sense. And, you know, most of these things never come up until there's a problem in a transaction. And then all of a sudden this goes from being a minimal issue to becoming a major issue at that moment. And so anyway, and then also as I'm going to just touch base over at Transaction Coordinator for a bit. We're seeing a little bit more of this now. And, you know, I want you to think of it, what a transaction coordinator is, the way we've been told by attorneys. You are basically a courier. You almost can't answer any question because it could be seen as favoring one party over the other. And so I don't understand. I mean, I never really did transaction coordinator. I guess the truest form of a transaction coordinator would be when a friend calls you up and says, hey, I've got another guy that you know, and we want to put this deal together and we need somebody to help us just write it up. We've already decided on the price, the terms, the closing date, who's paying taxes. All you have to do is just be a stenographer and write it down. That would be the truest sense, I believe, of a transaction coordinator. But we're seeing people trying to use this in different ways. And again, if you have a strong relationship with one party and not the other, it's going to be really hard to I mean, why wouldn't you just put you represent the seller? Or if in fact you're working with a buyer, why not just put I represent the buyer? Why not one or the other? It gets all mushy and whenever you get mushy, then you got legal issues. So dual agency and transaction coordinator are there. We allow it. We do not see them as, you know, if you're going to rate things as good, better, and best, transaction coordinator and dual agency, in my humble opinion, do not fall in the category of the best. Single agency, either representing the seller, the buyer, or in certain circumstances, the dual agency. So anyway,
Yeah.
That's all I've got, Paul. I don't know if there's anything else that you wanted to add here before we call it, but
I think I think we got a lot out there today. So I think we can call it. I don't think we need to go any further. I think that there's some good stuff there. So I want to just finish it off with the Star Title thing one last time. So if you are interested in joining Star Title, being a member, it's a good opportunity, and we'd love to show you the great services over there. So reach out to any of us, Bill, me, Greg, whomever, and we'll have a conversation.
All right.
All right, guys.
See y'all.
Have a great day. Adios.